Welcome back, folks. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of a showcase of all the different guns for the different zones. So obviously we're going to be starting in the swamp. These are all the secondaries you can get from this zones. You've got 4 different pistols and 2 shotguns that can be used in the secondary slot. The R92, the PB, the PM, and the BM16 sawed-off can all be obtained at level 1 reputation with the boathouse. The TT pistol can be obtained at level 2 reputation with the boathouse, and then the Shorty 590 shotgun is all the way once you max it out at level 5. And what we're going to be doing essentially is just I'm going to equip the weapons, show you what they actually look like while you're ADSing, and also kind of show you the fire rate on them. So the very first one is the little R92, and the R92 only takes up 1 slot, 1 little cell. This thing is probably the hardest hitting pistol that there is. I think it has a 64 damage, just base stats. Yeah, this is the hardest hitting pistol there is to start, but you only have 5 rounds. And the fire rate's pretty slow. Reload's pretty fast though. So that's what that one looks like. Then the next one up is going to be the PB pistol. And the fire rate on this one is pretty much as fast as you can click. And it's got an 8-round mag on it. The PM pistol, this is the one you start with. You get this one by default anyway, so you probably already know the fire rate on this one. And then the sawed-off, this is pretty much the same shotgun you get from one of the quest lines here. Very quick fire rate, very terrible range though. Not terrible if you don't want to use a pistol, if you'd rather use a shotgun. The next pistol is going to be the TT pistol. This one's level 2 rep with the boathouse or the stalker equivalent, which is Adamant's HQ. A little bit slower fire rate, only 8 rounds. And you can also get the free TT pistol from the Farah's quest line in this zone. And the last one is going to be the Shorty 590. Very slow fire rate. But it does do 170 damage per shot. That's going to be all of the secondaries available in this zone. Next, we're going to go on to the assault rifles. Now, as far as assault rifles go, the only one you can get at level 1 reputation is the Warren AKS-74U, and then the AKS-74U, the Warren L85A1, and the Warren M16A2. These are all available at level 3 reputation with your prospective base, either Adamant's HQ or the boathouse. So for the Warren AKS-74U, you get one of these just from doing the quest, so you probably know the fire rate on this and what the iron sights look like. Pretty easy to control as long as you're pulling down while you're shooting. And this is going to be the upgraded version, just the AKS-74U, which has 50 more shots per minute. Next is going to be the L85A1 here. Not terrible, kind of squirrely though on the recoil. 550 shots a minute versus the M16's 450, but this one's a little easier to control because of the 3-round burst though. I prefer the M16, to be honest with you. That's going to be all the assault rifles that are available in the starter zone. Next up is going to be the SMGs. All right, for SMGs, you have the Walther MPK and the AEK-919K Kashtan. These two are available at level 1 reputation with either the boathouse or Adamant's HQ. The Kedr is reputation level 2, and then the Uzi is reputation level 3. We're going to start out with the Walther, which only has 550 shots a minute. The only reason I would ever buy this gun is just to turn it into the Uzi, because the iron sights on this thing are terrible. Like, you can't see half of what you're aiming at with this thing. If you're going to hip fire it, that's good, I guess, but this is a terrible gun. Do not buy this gun unless you're trying to upgrade to the Uzi. But the fire rate on it is kind of slow for an SMG. The 919K Kashtan is the second one. You get one of these from the story quest that's similar. This thing's got 900 rounds a minute, so it puts some damage out. It also has some pretty high recoil and it burns through ammunition. Next up is going to be the Kedr, which you turn the Kashtan into the Kedr. This one only has 800 rounds per minute, but is much easier to control. And then the Uzi is level 3 that you turn the Walther into. I actually like the Uzi. There's a lot of attachments you can put on the Uzi. And it comes with a 40 round mag, just base, and it's only 600 rounds per minute. So that's the 3 SMGs that you can get. That's what the iron sights and the fire rate look like on those. Next up is going to be the sniper rifles, and all of these are available at level 2. You have the Mosin Carbine, the old SVT-40, and the worn SKS. If you're trying to do a lot of damage before the update, from what I've read, they're going to do away with the one-shot snipers after the update that was supposed to come out this January. But this is the Mosin Carbine. Pretty slow fire rate. It is a bolt action, so that makes sense. This one is my favorite gun to run early game, the SVT. You get 10 rounds, it's semi-auto, it hits like a truck, and you can get quick follow-up shots on whatever you're shooting. I pretty much only use this for either PvP or fighting NPC humanoid enemies that you can headshot. And the worn SKS is not bad because there is a quest not too far into the game. It's somewhere in the next zone that you get the SKS tactical stock. But the SKS has a much higher fire rate than the SVT. Fire rate on the SVT is 180. Fire rate on the Carbine is only 30. And then the SKS has 350 shots per minute. Mid-range, this one will most likely be easier to kill somebody with than the SVT just because of the slower fire rate unless you're hitting your shots. But the SKS is not a bad gun. Kind of the best of both worlds. It still has the headshot damage multiplier that all the other sniper rifles have. So those are the 3 sniper rifles available. Next up is going to be shotguns, which the only shotgun that's not a secondary from the starter zone is the BM16 full-length double barrel. It's just like the sawed-off as far as the fire rate goes. It just has a lot more range. And instead of taking up your secondary, it takes up your primary. So I wouldn't recommend a double barrel. Maybe for PvP if there's just 1v1 close quarters, but when you start trying to do mutant nests with a double barrel, it's a little bit harder because of the reload time. You got 2 rounds. There's usually 4 to 5 enemies, so you can make it work, but me personally, I don't like using it. And the only thing left from the starter zone are the melee weapons. You start with the Project 6x4, which has just the 1.2 damage to backstab and the 1.2 times damage to mutants. It's available at level 1. All the rest of the weapons are you have to get to level 5 before you can make. And then you have the Hunter's Knife, the Hammer, and the KO-1. The Hunter's Knife is essentially the exact same knife as the 6x4 that you start with. The only difference is that the Hunter's Knife has 20% penetration and the chance for a deep wound is 5% higher. And these 2 knives are the only knives that have the innate ability for the damage to mutants. The Hammer has the same backstab damage, and so does the KO-1. The only reason that I like to run the Hunter's Knife is because of the extra damage to mutants. Most of the time I'm trying to finish off like dogs or rats or something like that, and you just have more damage to mutants with this one. I'm pretty sure the attack speed on all of these things is the same. At least for the knives, for sure. The attack animation of the KO-1 is a stab instead of a slash. And then you have the Hammer. Hammer seems to be a little bit slower, maybe. But there's no stat that tells you how fast it's swinging. The actual damage on the Hammer is higher than everything. These are kind of all personal preference, to be honest. Like I said, I usually run the Hunter's Knife just because of the fact that it does more damage to mutants. But I might actually run around with the Hammer for a little while, just because I never do. But that is going to be every weapon for the starter zone that you can get, plus the fire rate, plus what the iron sights look like. For the most part, any of them will work. The only one that I would really suggest you don't buy to use is that Walther MPK. The only reason I would buy this if I were you was buy it and throw it in my stash until I got high enough rep to buy the Uzi, because I like the Uzi. The iron sights on this one just make it garbage. So I will be doing one of these for each zone, showing you all the guns that are available in that zone, little preview of what they look like, the fire rate, what the iron sights look like. Now, with that being said, once I make it to the bar area, it's going to take me quite a while to farm up enough materials to show all of those guns. So be patient, because that's going to be quite the endeavor. It's going to be lots of pickles, lots of high level mats I have to get. I do plan on showing you what each gun looks like and what the fire rate is, what the iron sight ADS looks like. But the last video may take a bit of time to come out. So if this video helped you out, go ahead and drop a like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I hope you guys have a good one, and I will catch you in the next video. Y'all take it easy.